In 2025, compact SUVs are still where the action's at. And after spending time behind the wheel of both the new Hyundai Tucson and the Honda CR-V, I get why they're top of the list for so many folks. I've driven both back-to-back, and they really go toe-to-toe when it comes to value, space, and everyday drivability. These aren't just spec sheet rivals, they're real-world competitors, so. Hello everyone, this is Scott from CarlandTV. It's time to get in the front seat as today, we're diving into which of the 2025 Hyundai Tucson and 2025 Honda CR-V actually earns its spot in your driveway. Before I start, I would really appreciate it if you would push those buttons below. The subscribe button, the notification bell, all of them. This is not necessary, but those little clicks help a brother out. Plus, it pushes me to give you more valuable car-related content on your screen. Now, buckle up, and let's get back to the video. The first time I laid eyes on the 2025 Hyundai Tucson again this year, I couldn't help but give it a nod. It still looks like it came straight out of a concept sketch. Hyundai didn't pull any punches with this design. It's sharp, angular, and full of attitude. The LED DRLs are still embedded in that quote-unquote parametric jewel grille, which honestly makes the front end look like it's always ready to pounce. It's aggressive without being over the top, and if you're into that futuristic, bold design language, the Tucson delivers. In particular, I find the N-line trim with those darkened 19-inch alloys and gloss black accents really slick, like something that should cost way more than it does. But even the base SE trim doesn't feel stripped down from the outside. It appears Hyundai gives you a lot to look at, no matter the price point. Now, the 2025 Honda CR-V plays a different card. It's not flashy, but it's confident. Honda didn't try to reinvent anything here. Instead, they refined what already worked. The CR-V's clean lines and upright stance still give it that mature, no-nonsense look that a lot of buyers trust. It has a broad front fascia with a wide grille and subtle chrome touches, and the rear end feels more squared off this year, which adds to that SUV feel. The Sport Touring Hybrid trim I drove came with 19-inch machine-finished wheels and blacked-out details that gave it a little edge, but overall, it still leans more conservative next to the Tucson. Between the two, the Tucson definitely turns more heads. I've had strangers actually stop and ask what it was, but the CR-V gives off a grown-up, Papa is a big boy vibe that tells you it means business without needing to show off. Sliding into the 2025 Hyundai Tucson, the first thing that hits you is how upscale it feels for a compact SUV at this price point. The dashboard layout is clean and modern, with a flowing design that wraps into the doors and a fully digital 12.3-inch instrument cluster, paired with a touchscreen that's integrated seamlessly into the dash. The center stack has this sleek, buttonless vibe, though I'll admit, the touch-sensitive controls take some getting used to. Materials feel solid throughout, with soft touch surfaces on most of the high-traffic areas, especially in the SEL and limited trims. The cabin feels airy thanks to the low beltline and massive panoramic sunroof, and visibility all around is excellent. Front seats are nicely bolstered and supportive, even on longer drives. I took it out on a 3-hour highway run and never had to shift around or stretch. Rear seat legroom is generous, especially for this class, and headroom's solid even for taller passengers. When it comes to cargo, the Tucson brings serious practicality, so expect there's plenty of space behind the rear seats and the floor is wide and flat, so loading gear or groceries is a breeze. Now, hopping into the 2025 Honda CR-V, you immediately notice a different vibe. It just feels more traditional but functional. The layout is straightforward and ergonomic, with a clean horizontal dash that puts everything where you expect it to be. I really like the honeycomb metal mesh that hides the air vents. It's a nice touch that gives the cabin a bit more character. Materials aren't flashy, but they're solid and durable, and the switches and knobs have that typical Honda tactile feel. Seat comfort in the CR-V is excellent, firm yet supportive, and the lumbar support in the driver's seat felt better dialed in than the Tucson's. Rear passenger space is definitely something I can say is class-leading, and you really feel it when you're sitting back there. Tons of legroom, and the backrest recline is a bonus. Cargo space is where the CR-V really flexes. I was able to load up a full-size stroller and 2 duffel bags and still had room to spare. The floor is low, the opening is wide, and the CR-V just feels like it was built with actual families in mind. Both interiors have their strengths, but the CR-V edges out the Tucson when it comes to pure usability and comfort for long hauls. When it comes to tech, The 2025 Hyundai Tucson definitely leans more futuristic, especially in the limited trim I drove. It has this dual-screen setup with a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster and a 12.3-inch infotainment screen that blends together like they were designed for an EV cockpit. The screens are sharp, fluid, and packed with features, but the lack of physical knobs for climate and audio might bug some folks who prefer tactile controls. Finally, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto come standard on most trims now, and Hyundai's UI is responsive, though a bit menu-heavy. You also get a premium Bose audio system that pumps out clean mids and strong bass. Seriously, it actually surprised me how crisp it was for this price point. There's also ambient lighting, a big panoramic sunroof, and even a remote smart park assist if you want to show off a little. On the CR-V side, Honda keeps it simpler but super functional. You get a 7-inch or 9-inch touchscreen depending on trim, with a physical volume knob and easier-to-navigate menus, plus standard wireless CarPlay and Android Auto on higher trims. The CR-V's digital gauge cluster isn't quite as flashy, but it's easy to read and well integrated. I know a lot of folks want a straightforward layout, so this somewhat of an analog setup of the 2025 CR-V could still be appealing. The available 12-speaker Bose system in the Sport Touring Hybrid is decent, but I'd give the edge to Tucson on raw sound quality. Honda's tech feels more refined and user-friendly, while the Tucson goes all in on screen real estate and flash, so it really depends on whether you want high-tech eye candy or classic Honda ease of use. Driving the 2025 Hyundai Tucson, I got to sample both the base 2.5-liter gas engine and the hybrid version, and there's a noticeable difference between the two. The 2.5-liter naturally aspirated four-cylinder makes 187 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque, paired with an 8-speed automatic. It's solid for everyday driving, since it's both smooth and predictable, but definitely not quick off the line. The hybrid setup, on the other hand, changes the game. With a 1.6-liter turbocharged engine and electric motor combo pushing out 231 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, it delivers more punch, especially in city traffic and highway merges. The plug-in hybrid model cranks that up even further, with 261 total horsepower and around 32 miles of electric-only range, which is perfect for short commutes or around-town errands without burning gas. The Tucson's ride leans soft and comfortable, with easy light steering and a suspension that's tuned more for daily cruising than spirited driving. It soaks up bumps well, and the cabin stays quiet even on rougher pavement. I find it definitely more comfort-focused than sporty. When I first got behind the wheel of the 2025 Honda CR-V, I went in knowing it wouldn't be some wild performance machine, and that's exactly what it delivers. The base engine is a 1.5-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 190 horsepower, paired with a CVT. I know CVTs don't get a lot of love, but this one's smooth and refined. No annoying rubber band feels like some older units. The turbo engine feels more responsive than the Tucson's base motor, especially when you're rolling into the throttle on the freeway. The CR-V hybrid is where things get interesting. It uses a 2-liter Atkinson cycle engine paired with 2 electric motors, putting down 204 horsepower and 247 pound-feet of torque. The electric assist gives you instant torque off the line, and the transitions between gas and electric power are nearly seamless. It just feels polished. Ride quality is firmer than the Tucson, but that translates to better composure in corners and a more connected feel on the road. If you're someone who enjoys actually driving your SUV instead of just cruising, the CR-V hybrid definitely feels more dialed in. As for all-wheel drive performance, both systems held their own when I took them off the beaten path and into some light gravel and rain-soaked roads. Honda's real-time AWD system, standard on the Sport Touring Hybrid, kicked in quicker and felt more planted when traction dropped. Hyundai's HTRA CAWD system works fine, but it didn't feel as confident in slick conditions. When it comes to towing, the Tucson has the edge, 2,000 pounds across the board when properly equipped, whether you're in the gas, hybrid, or PHEV. The CR-V is split, 1,500 pounds max for the gas models and 1,000 pounds for the hybrid. So if you're planning on towing a small trailer or hauling some weekend gear, the Tucson's the better bet. All things considered, the Tucson brings comfort, efficiency, and a high-tech feel, while the CR-V answers with sharper driving dynamics and that legendary Honda polish. It really comes down to what kind of driver you are. When it comes to fuel economy, both the 2025 Hyundai Tucson and the Honda CR-V put up competitive numbers, but it's the hybrid and plug-in hybrid options that really shift the conversation. Starting with the Tucson, the base 2.5-liter gas engine gets an EPA estimated 25 miles per gallon in city and 33 miles per gallon on highway with front-wheel drive, while the all-wheel drive version dips slightly to 24 miles per gallon in city and 30 miles per gallon on highway. Move up to the hybrid and you're looking at a solid 38 miles per gallon in the city and 38 miles per gallon on the highway on the blue trim, while all-wheel drive hybrid trims still hold strong at 37 miles per gallon combined. The plug-in hybrid Tucson comes in at 77 miles per gallon equivalent combined with about 32 miles of all-electric range, which I found to be spot on in real-world driving. I was able to handle most of my weekday errands without even kicking on the gas engine. If you've got access to a home charger, it's a great setup for short commutes or city driving without worrying about range anxiety. On the CR-V side, the base 1.5-liter turbocharged engine pulls off 28 miles per gallon in city and 34 miles per gallon in highway with front-wheel drive and slightly less with all-wheel drive at 27 miles per gallon in city and 32 miles per gallon on highway. Numbers that are not bad considering the extra weight and traction. The real standout, though, in my opinion, is the CR-V hybrid. With front-wheel drive, it delivers an impressive 43 miles per gallon in city and 36 miles per gallon on highway, and if you go AWD, it still puts up 40 city and 34 highway, which is right where my average landed during mixed driving. The CR-V doesn't offer a plug-in hybrid, so if you're looking for that EV light flexibility, the Tucson PHEV definitely has the upper hand there. But for traditional hybrid efficiency and consistency across longer trips, the CR-V hybrid is incredibly well balanced. Whether you're focused on daily savings at the pump or stretching your fuel tank on long road trips, both of these SUVs bring something strong to the table. It's just a matter of how far you want to lean into electrification. Now, from someone who's been around both brands for years, I've driven these things, I've talked to owners, and I've wrenched on a few. Here's how I see it when it comes to long-term reliability and what it's going to cost you to keep one of these SUVs on the road. Honda CR-Vs have always had this no-nonsense, do-its-job kind of durability, and the 2025 model keeps that streak alive. You ask folks who've owned theirs for a decade or more, and they'll tell you the same story. Minimal issues, basic maintenance, and they just keep running. And it's not just word of mouth. Consumer Reports backs that up, predicting above-average reliability again this year. Now, the Hyundai Tucson has come a long way. The 2025 model scored an 85 out of 100 from J.D. Power in predicted reliability. And that's a huge deal considering where Hyundai was a decade ago. In terms of day-to-day peace of mind, Hyundai's warranty is honestly a big reason why a lot of folks I know are making the switch. It has a 10-year or 100,000-mile powertrain warranty and 5-year or 60,000-mile bumper-to-bumper, which absolutely crushes Honda's 5-year or 60,000-mile powertrain and 3-year or 36,000-mile limited coverage. And here's something I noticed when helping a buddy shop last month. Hyundai throws in 3 years or 36,000 miles of free maintenance, covering your oil changes, tire rotations, all the basics. Honda gives you a year or 12,000 miles under their Service Pass program, which is something, but it doesn't stretch nearly as far. If you're the kind of person who trades every 3 to 5 years, that free maintenance plus the longer warranty makes the Tucson a sweet deal early on. But if you're like me and tend to hold on to your vehicles until they've racked up 6 figures on the odometer, the CR-V's reputation starts to shine. They're easy to maintain, parts are everywhere, and they just don't quit. The bottom line is, Tucson gives you more upfront. But if you're thinking long-term reliability without babysitting the car, I'd still put my money on the CR-V. Well, I'd say the Tucson is the better pick if you're into tech, bold design, and want that killer warranty with some electric flexibility from the PHEV. But if you're more about long-term reliability, better resale, and all-around practicality, especially for a family or commuter duty, the CR-V still has the edge. For me, it's Tucson for flash and features, and CR-V for function and peace of mind.